Welcome back to our channel, soap fans. Peacock TV Spoilers. We have been tracking this for weeks, and we need to talk about the Days of Our Lives spoilers for Wednesday, August 12th. Things are reaching a boiling point, and we have so much to unpack. Then on Wednesday, August 12th, Rachel Black and Brady Black share a heartbreaking moment. Rachel Black is absolutely distraught, crying in Brady Black's arms about Kristen DiMera. Let's be real for a second. Kristen DiMera is a monster. I ruthlessly criticize Kristen DiMera every chance I get, because Kristen DiMera has spent over a decade emotionally destroying Brady Black, and now Kristen DiMera is doing the exact same thing to Kristen DiMera's own daughter. We know Kristen DiMera is currently running around Salem disguised as Susan Banks, which is a terrifying callback to the late 1990s, when Kristen DiMera locked Susan Banks in a secret room and stole Susan Banks' entire life. Now, Rachel Black is the victim of this psychological warfare. I personally believe Rachel Black is finally waking up to the reality of who Rachel Black's mother truly is. Brady Black has historically had a massive hero complex when it comes to Kristen DiMera, constantly forgiving Kristen DiMera for kidnappings, murders, and lies. But seeing Rachel Black sobbing in Brady Black's arms has to be the breaking point. If you ask me, this is a huge mistake, because Brady Black should have cut Kristen DiMera out of Rachel Black's life years ago. This trauma will scar Rachel Black forever, just like Stefano DiMera scarred Stefano DiMera's children. Meanwhile, over at Titan, Xander Cook Kyriakis is making a drastic decision to save the company. Amazing. I passionately defend Xander Cook Kyriakis because despite Xander Cook Kyriakis' past as a ruthless hitman, Xander Cook Kyriakis is genuinely trying to be a better man for Sarah Horton and Victoria Kyriakis. But Titan is sinking, and Philip Kyriakis is getting desperate. Philip Kyriakis pitches a highly risky, crazy plan to Gabi Hernandez. Can you believe it? Gabi Hernandez, the woman who literally just used Gabi Hernandez's DiMera inheritance to double-cross Titan, is now being brought into a tense meeting with Xander Cook Kyriakis and Philip Kyriakis. Gabi Hernandez has a legendary history of corporate espionage. Remember when Gabi Hernandez took over DiMera Enterprises and paraded around town like a queen? Gabi Hernandez only looks out for Gabi Hernandez. Philip Kyriakis pitching an alliance to Gabi Hernandez is practically corporate suicide. I personally believe Philip Kyriakis is letting Philip Kyriakis' desperation cloud Philip Kyriakis' judgment. Xander Cook Kyriakis knows better. Xander Cook Kyriakis has been in the trenches with Victor Kyriakis. And Xander Cook Kyriakis knows that trusting Gabi Hernandez is like handing a loaded gun to your enemy. The dynamic in this Wednesday, August 12 meeting is going to be explosive. Xander Cook Kyriakis is going to have to make a drastic move to neutralize Gabi Hernandez before Gabi Hernandez burns Titan to the ground. On a lighter note, Ariana Hernandez and Aaron Green are planning a surprise for Tate Black and Holly Jonas. We are also going to see Aaron Green and Tate Black flexing at the gym. That's crazy! These kids are trying to have a normal summer, but let's look at the psychological damage here. Holly Jonas just found out that E.J. DiMera planted drugs in Holly Jonas's bag to frame Holly Jonas. Tate Black was completely alienated because of that. The fact that Tate Black and Holly Jonas are trying to rebuild Tate Black and Holly Jonas's trust after E.J. DiMera's ultimate betrayal is a miracle. I love seeing Ariana Hernandez stepping up as a friend here. Ariana Hernandez has Ariana Hernandez's own mommy issues with Gabi Hernandez. So Ariana Hernandez understands Holly Jonas perfectly. This gym flexing scene is a nice breather, but in Salem, a surprise usually ends in disaster. I predict this little teen getaway will be interrupted by some major DiMera fallout. Moving into Thursday, August 13, Alex Kyriakis desperately needs Steve Johnson's help. Peacock TV Spoilers, we've been tracking this for weeks, and this is absolutely about Stephanie Johnson. Stephanie Johnson has completely lost Stephanie Johnson's mind. I ruthlessly criticize Stephanie Johnson for Stephanie Johnson's recent action. Stephanie Johnson survived a terrifying kidnapping by Owen Kent, yes, but pulling a loaded gun on an innocent person? Accusing Joy Wesley of faking a medical crisis with baby Kelsey Adrian Kyriakis? Stephanie Johnson has become completely toxic. Alex Kyriakis is going to Steve Johnson because Alex Kyriakis loves Stephanie Johnson, but Alex Kyriakis has to protect Alex Kyriakis' daughter. Steve Johnson is a fiercely protective father, and seeing Steve Johnson's daughter unravel like this is going to break Steve. I personally believe Steve Johnson will have to force Stephanie Johnson into a psychiatric facility. The historical callback here is profound. Remember when Kayla Brady was traumatized and Steve Johnson had to literally carry Kayla Brady through Kayla Brady's darkest days? Now, Steve Johnson has to do it for Steve Johnson's daughter, but Alex Kyriakis might not survive the collateral damage. Also on Thursday, August 13, the Carver family nightmare escalates. Abe Carver and Theo Carver are sick with worry about missing Lexie Carver. Abe Carver finally gets wise and phones Celeste Perot. And you won't believe what happens next. Abe Carver discovers that Lexie Carver is not in South Africa visiting Lexie Carver's mother. That's crazy. The sheer panic that is going to set in for Abe Carver and Theo Carver is going to be palpable. We know the devastating truth. E.J. DiMera has hidden a dying Lexie Carver in the secret DiMera tunnel. This reminds me of what Stefano DiMera did back in the day, hiding Marlena Evans and John Black in secret rooms and underground cages. E.J. DiMera is carrying on Stefano DiMera's sick legacy by denying Abe Carver and Theo Carver the chance to say goodbye to Abe Carver and Theo Carver's wife and mother. The psychological torture E.J. DiMera is inflicting on Theo Carver is unforgivable. When Theo Carver finally finds Lexie Carver in those tunnels, it will be the most tragic moment of the decade. We also have to talk about Chanel Dupree DiMera. Early in the week, Paulina Price feels Chanel Dupree DiMera's baby kicking. And Paulina Price and Chanel Dupree DiMera share a beautiful, tender moment playing with little Trey. Paulina Price and Marlena Evans are leaning heavily on each other, deeply worried about Chanel Dupree DiMera, Johnny DiMera, and Lexie Carver. But here's the kicker. This beautiful moment turns into an absolute nightmare. Chanel Dupree DiMera suddenly realizes Chanel Dupree DiMera is in labor. In the summer promo, we see Kayla Brady rushing to examine Chanel Dupree DiMera at the hospital, and a terrified Johnny DiMera announces that Chanel Dupree DiMera is bleeding. My heart is shattering. Chanel Dupree DiMera is already battling aggressive breast cancer, and now Chanel Dupree DiMera is facing premature labor and severe hemorrhaging. Kayla Brady frantically tells Paulina Price and Lonnie Price Grant that Paulina Price and Lonnie Price Grant have to go to the hospital immediately. Chanel Dupree DiMera looks at Johnny DiMera and confesses that Chanel Dupree DiMera is terrified. I passionately defend Chanel Dupree DiMera because Chanel Dupree DiMera has fought so hard for this baby. Chanel Dupree DiMera refused cancer treatments to protect Chanel Dupree DiMera's child, and now both of Chanel Dupree DiMera and the baby's lives are hanging by a thread. The historical parallels to Paulina Price's own traumatic past with abusive men and losing control of Paulina Price's children make this current medical crisis even more devastating. Johnny DiMera is going to be tested like never before. Finally, let's travel to Alemania, where the hostage situation is reaching a fever pitch. Dimitri von Leuschner is completely unhinged. Dimitri von Leuschner is obsessed with making Leo Stark Dimitri von Leuschner's man again, refusing to stop until Leo Stark submits. But Rafe Hernandez has officially arrived in Alemania. Rafe Hernandez bursts onto the scene, and there is a massive deal on the table. Leo Stark, in a rare moment of selflessness, asks Dimitri von Leuschner to make a deal with Leo Stark if Dimitri von Leuschner refuses to negotiate with Rafe Hernandez. I personally believe Leo Stark is going to offer to stay in Alemania as Dmitri von Leuschner's prisoner, as long as Dmitri von Leuschner lets Gwen Rizchek go. Amazing. Leo Stark actually showing some genuine loyalty to Gwen Rizchek. But Rafe Hernandez has a massive trump card. Rafe Hernandez cannot just arrest Dmitri von Leuschner because Rafe Hernandez has no jurisdiction in Alemania. But Rafe Hernandez offers Gwen Rizchek a deal Gwen Rizchek cannot refuse: full legal immunity. Yes, Rafe Hernandez wants to give Gwen Rizchek full immunity for all Gwen Rizchek's past crimes, but only if Gwen Rizchek agrees to testify against E.J. DiMera. If you ask me, this is a huge mistake for E.J. DiMera to have ever crossed Gwen Rizchek. Gwen Rizchek has been treated like garbage by the DiMeras, and now Gwen Rizchek holds the ultimate key to E.J. DiMera's total destruction. What a week we have ahead of us. Will Xander Cook Kyriakis manage to save Titan from Gabi Hernandez's toxic grip? And will Chanel Dupree DiMera and Chanel Dupree DiMera's baby survive this terrifying medical emergency? Let us know your wildest theories in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to Peacock TV Spoilers for all your daily updates.